Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Short Circuit. I'm your host, Darryl Willis, Corporate Vice President of Energy and Resources at Microsoft. And I'm excited to have you join us today as we explore another important topic around the energy transition. In each episode, we will hear from industry experts and thought leaders who will be sharing their insights and perspectives on the current state and future state of the energy sector. And today, our spotlight is on partnerships. We'll look into partnerships and talk about the importance of collaboration, the importance that collaboration plays in delivering transformation and ultimately success and scale for the energy sector. And joining me today is a very special guest, Jason Wight, the CIO of Ontario Power Generation. Under Jason's innovative leadership in support of strategic projects, OPG is charting an amazing path towards delivering transformational growth and productivity to the energy sector, in particular to the power and utility sector. And we're grateful to have the partnership with OPG. Jason, welcome to the Short Circuit, and I'm so happy that you're joining us today.
Thank you very much, Darryl. Fantastic to be here.
Before we jump into some of the questions I have for you, I'd love for you to just say or share a little bit about your background and your role as CIO, and give us a bit of an overview of OPG.
Yeah, sure thing. My name's Jason Wight. I'm the Chief Information Officer for OPG. My career, I've kind of had two careers. My career, I'm an engineer by trade, an engineering physicist, a nuclear engineer. And I started my career about 23 years ago at OPG. So I've been at one company my whole career. And most of it has been in engineering. Most of it has been in design, components, performance engineering. I've been a design authority and director of engineering at a nuclear power station. And throughout my time, I gained a respect for technology and innovation, became a bit of an innovation technology guru at the company, which turned on the path of CIO and ended up becoming the CIO for the company. And I'm passionate about leadership. I'm passionate about technology. My role specifically is all around everything digital, services, projects, cybersecurity, digital innovation and tech. And it's an exciting place to be. In Ontario Power Generation right now, we're under incredible growth. We are in Ontario, Canada, we are 95% clean. We are the largest power producer or energy producer in Ontario. We have nuclear stations, hydro plants, others as well. And it's extremely exciting. We will planning to have the first commercial small modular reactor in Clarington, just outside of Toronto, for the world, which is a commercial reactor for the world, which is extremely exciting, especially with climate change and everything that goes with it.
That's fantastic. It's obvious that you're really passionate about what you're doing, and it's obvious that OPG is leaning in pretty hard, which is great to hear. Can you walk us through a little bit around how the partnership between Microsoft and OPG came about, and what specific goals you had in mind when deciding to partner with us?
No, absolutely. It's been an interesting journey. I arrived as a CIO in 2020, just before the pandemic started. And just before then, we had started our cloud initiative. So really trying to find a way to move from on-prem to cloud for many reasons. And I think, it's an opportunity to innovate, and it's an opportunity to be safer and be a little faster and more agile when you start to implement technology. So we knew this was a priority for us. So we started moving to cloud, and that's when we started to have really in-depth discussions with Microsoft. But the partnership really started in earnest about 2 years ago when we started to realize that your shared goals and values are our shared goals and values. Net zero being one of them, climate change, of course, being one of them, ED&I or DEI and social responsibility initiatives. All of those values were shared. And that built some trust, that built relationships. And from that, we started to realize, okay, hey, maybe we can do a lot more. Instead of a vendor vendor supplier kind of relationship, it turned into something, hey, how can we help each other achieve both of our shared goals? That's when we signed our Azure partnership, a very significant partnership. We signed our renewed our EA agreement with Microsoft. But in part of that, Microsoft also signed power purchase agreements, which promoted nuclear, supported nuclear, as well as a power platform for energy markets for our company. So those shared values and those combination of shared values built trust and relationships. And then we started to get to know each other a lot more, which of course just promoted innovation. And that's, with specific goals, enabling innovation was key. So for us, we needed to find ways to have a competitive advantage, to do things differently, to move faster with incredible growth. The growth, CIO and IT, we are speed limiters, man. If we can't keep up, the company can't keep up. And so we needed partners that promoted and enabled that. And that's exactly what Microsoft is. And leaders in the energy space. And we wanted to be leaders in the energy space. And to do that, we need really good partnerships. And I'll leave the last answer to this question on how shared are our goals. You've got the vision for Microsoft being the mission to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. For IT, it's to enable every OPG employee to achieve more. So something very specific and very shared in that common mission.
Thank you for sharing that, man. That's awesome. I think for me, when I think about our partnership and our companies, it helps so much when there's alignment around mission and alignment around direction of travel. And that's obviously the case between OPG and Microsoft. In addition to that, a lot of times we get focused on getting companies, as we say, to move from the closet to the cloud, but there's so much more that we can do when we work together, because this whole journey towards net zero is big, it's ambitious, but it's hard, and it's going to require all of us working together. And every company that I talk to is thinking about digital transformation, especially across the energy sector, but also thinking about how do you make it real? How do you make it tangible? How do you make it impactful? And many of our listeners are on a digital transformation journey of their own. And I'm really interested in hearing about the practicalities of making the changes and the benefits that are possible when you do it. So can you share some of the specific examples of digital technology and the work that we're doing together to enable business transformation at OPG?
Yeah, and so we're Ontario Power Generation. We've got operations, so nuclear stations to operate, hydro stations to operate. And for those in the energy industry that's listening, it's tough. You've got a lot of people, a lot of processes, a lot of regulation. And so how do you do that in a very productive and efficient manner? Some very specific examples. We had one with Microsoft that's very specific, and we called it the AFA tool, which is AI for Assessing tool. And this is prior, by the way, to ChatGPT and large language. Where we basically took and had a project to create a bot that was able to sift through all of our asset management, be able to understand it, find out where there's duplication, and repopulate assessing tasks. So in other words, we have maintenance assessors that do assessing of all this work. That task was immediately more productive, more efficient. We went down from, we had maintenance tasks from 15 to 20 hours to 30 minutes. So that's incredible productivity improvements. And what it did also was open our eyes to the potential of what else can we do around scheduling, around outage, around supply chain. It's been incredible value. That's been like, it's been a something that we can leverage as a tool for us to see what the potential is. That tool, in fact, won an EPRI award. So EPRI, wow. I think it's electricity. Geez, I have to follow up on that acronym, but it's basically the electricity organization across the globe have standards, and these standards and around innovation as well. And this was recognized as a tool for innovation for assessing tasks that people should duplicate because it's extremely effective. Another example, of course, is our infamous Chat-OPG. And I'll say infamous. So Chat-OPG is ChatGPT within our Azure environment. So we've worked with Microsoft incredibly closely to put GPT within the Azure environment. We've been able to actually create our own little chatbot. Now, chatbots are not new, but training on using the algorithm on your own data is extremely powerful. And we've done that for all of our, of course, HR and IT help desk tasks, and we're still refining it as time goes because we're still in its infancy. But and it's kind of the potential that we see and that we're using right now is to be able to react faster to deficiencies in the plant. In other words, the chat OPG can actually look at all of our abnormal incident manuals, our operational data, combine that with the full history of the company and maintenance and engineering, understanding, say, for example, if a pump fails, this is how you would react. This is how we have reacted. This is what the problems have been in the future, and be able to give you a response in seconds where it would take weeks or sometimes months to understand that issue and react appropriately. So extremely powerful there. I've got so many examples. How long do you want me to talk, Darryl?
I mean, those are great examples, Jason, and it kind of is making me think about just data in general, because, you know, one of my experiences over the time I've spent, and like you, prior to coming to Microsoft and spending a little time at one of our competitors, I spent most of my career in one company. And one of the things I remember is that it wasn't that we didn't have enough data, but we had almost more data than we knew what to do with. And so my experience lately has been companies have lots of data, but they don't know how to leverage it, how to liberate it, how to use it to inform business decisions. I hope that the example you shared around chat OPG is very enlightening, because I think it's really important for companies to think about how to embrace some of the changes that are underway as we speak around large language models and artificial intelligence more broadly. But I'd love to kind of have you say a little bit about how our collaboration together has empowered OPG to have an effective data insights, data-driven approach in your decision making. So I want you to give me some more examples around how it's helping, if that's okay.
No, not a problem. I mean, data is the new currency, as you say, right? So it's embedded within everything that we do, and I will repeat the fact that at a company so historic, like we've been around for 100 years, we have so much information to leverage it. It's so difficult to do. And if it's difficult to do, people won't do it. And Microsoft has been kind of essential to help us create what our data lake, or what we call data ocean, because there's so much. And move into the cloud, of course, that's been a combined effort. One of I'll probably call out two projects specifically.
Okay.
There was one, we have what we call Reimagine and My Business. And that's taking basically all of our financial, accounting, HR data, and putting it into, I'll say, strategic Power BIs to be able to leverage that information and gain insights where we couldn't do that before. And, I'm a big fan of behavioral economics. I'm a big fan of choice architecture, making it easy for people to behave the way they need to behave. And just as simple as being able to organize the data within the data ocean, connect it to all of our financial, HR. The difference here is it's connected to every leader. So every leader is able to gain insights from their work program at the lowest level to the highest level. And that's extremely powerful. It's enormously powerful. The other piece of it I will point out is our monitoring and diagnostic center. We have all of this plant information system coming from the power plants. And that creates that data is information that can be leveraged if we use AI. And so our monitoring and diagnostic center, we use cloud data, our plant information data to predict when things will fail. So in other words, we're able to make better decisions on, say, for example, temperatures of turbine bearings, and being able to predict, hey, this is going to fail here. You should have an outage here. You have to adjust your maintenance program. So you're able to actually better operate as an energy producer based on data. And data is, and I think, I was kind of lucky when I came in. I will say lucky, the pandemic hit. So it was a shock and awe syndrome as soon as you come into the CIO when the pandemic hits. But and Microsoft, by the way, was key to get mobile. But our CEO understands the value of data and understands that investing in data will end up producing productivity and efficiency innovation that we don't even know yet. And I think that's kind of the key, and the partnership with Microsoft has really helped that.
That's fantastic, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share those examples and stories with us, because with me, because I feel like a lot of the progress that the energy sector is able to make will be based on the stories that it hears about success. And it's not a perfect journey. It'll be a lumpy journey. It won't be linear, but it will be progressive. And we're really excited about that. What I'd love to do now is sort of step beyond the walls of OPG. And let's talk about the effect, the ripple effect that partnerships like ours could have or is having on the broader energy sector. So how do you see our collaboration as a model for other companies in the energy sector?
Yeah, wow. I'll say this: the collaboration we've had with Microsoft, I'll say enable innovation. I think that's that is a truism, but the collaboration has allowed us to go faster. So because we've been able to gain the trust and the collaboration of our shared values, and I think that's the key, is that we have to share the value sharing was so incredibly important for building the relationship, that allowed us to ask questions that we wouldn't normally ask, and therefore also trust each other on, hey, have you thought about this? You should probably not do this over here. And my reps at Microsoft and I will say my partners at Microsoft in Toronto are incredible, because they're always either advocating for me on my tech, because they understand my goals, and large language being one of them. They'll advocate internally, they'll advocate to Redmond, they'll find ways to get me opportunities and to match my goals. But you can't do that with a normal sales kind of vendor relationship. It has to be, the partnership has to be different. It has to be a real understanding and trust there. There was one instance, for example, I'll say this, we're trying to implement chat OPG and trying to implement a search, a chatbot within OPG. And in Ontario, we didn't have semantic search. We needed more GPUs. And our team, because of the partnership, was able to advocate to Redmond and be able to actually implement and put, semantic GPUs in the Toronto data centers to be able to leverage our chatbot, which eventually became an incredible advantage when we're trying to implement large language and chat OPG or chat GPT within the Azure environment. So like that type of thing is so awesome. And because of that, it's not about money anymore. It starts more on the tech and the trust and the relationship.
You talked a lot over the course of our conversation today about speed. So clearly the velocity at which we do things is important. Why is speed so important?
Oh man. I mean, you said the right word, by the way, as a physicist.
Yeah.
You said velocity.
Velocity.
And velocity is speed and direction. And because it doesn't matter how fast you go if you're going the wrong direction, right?
Precisely.
So very, very wise. And speed is so, here's the thing. Innovate, it doesn't matter. Innovation, the value, the competitive advantage of innovation is speed as well. If you don't go fast, then you won't get to market, you won't have an advantage, and you won't take it, and you won't be able to realize the benefits of technology or innovation. And the business case goes away. So speed and speed and risk go hand in hand. And I think one of the advice I would give to most CIOs out there, and having talked to many, is understanding and managing risk is changing. It's not all about cybersecurity. It's everything's about cybersecurity, but being able to manage cyber with innovation and being able to take a bit of manage risk to be able to promote innovation is so key. I was at a Gartner conference not too long ago for CIOs, and about half the CIOs at that Gartner conference were blocking large language, and the other half were just all on board. And the way I think of it, it's an eventuality. This is going to happen. and your employees are using it anyways. So how are you managing it? How are you thinking different to be able to take advantage of it? So, for example, putting a chat GPT within the Azure environment to protect your information. How are you thinking differently to enable it? Because it's happening whether you like it or not. And it's interesting to see viewpoints. And that's some pieces of advice that I would give folks and why speed is so important.
Awesome. I think one of the things I think about a lot is the fact that you cannot, and I say it to people a lot, is that the best thing you can do is embrace innovation and not try to contain it, because it will find its place and it will find its way, whether you're on board or not. So I really appreciate those comments. So go ahead.
Oh no, there's a huge cultural advantage to innovation too. I mean, if you try to stifle it, and I mean, then people won't dream. If they won't dream, anyways, agreed.
I got it.
Yeah.
So I could talk to you forever, but as we bring our conversation to a close, I have one final question for you. And it's really a big question, but a simple question. What most excites you about the future of the energy industry? What are you most excited about?
Well, okay. So obviously my background is an engineering physicist, a nuclear engineer. That was where I started my career. And when I started, and for many years, nuclear has not been a topic of conversation. And I see so much value in the technology. And we are different than we were 40, 50 years ago. And there's so much opportunity to utilize that energy density in a smart way to help solve the world's problems and in a smart way. And I'm so excited for the nuclear renaissance that's happening because there's so much opportunity for the world to get better. And again, I'm slightly biased because of my background, and I truly believe it's opportunity. And then you start thinking about large language and what Microsoft and OpenAI is doing. I see incredible opportunity to combine the both, because nuclear won't be successful if we can't build it fast, cheap, and awesome. Awesome being safe as well as a huge, incredible experience. And that's where I see the combination of using large language, AI, to create and manage these projects so amazingly. And then once they're built, to operate and maintain so incredibly safe and so incredibly cost effective. It's so much opportunity across the world. And that's what I'm excited about.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another great episode of The Short Circuit. Jason, thank you so much for making time to talk with us about your experiences. We know that you're busy. I know that you're busy, and we are grateful to you and OPG for your partnership and all that you're doing to lean in as we all sort of make our way towards net zero by 2050 or sooner. I know, and I know you know, Microsoft and OPG know that the most important thing we can do is to figure out how to partner together. Partnerships are absolutely key to everything we do. And these types of collaborations that we've talked about today are essential and will allow us to get where we need to get to as fast as possible, as safe as possible, in the most reliable way. So remember to stay tuned for future episodes as we continue to take a deeper look into the global energy transition and how we're going to enable it going forward. Thanks, everyone.